Hi there, Cambly learners. My name is Janger, and I'm a tutor on Cambly. Today, we're going to be learning about interjections. Before we begin, let's have a quick summary about the things we're going to learn today. First of all, we're going to talk about the definition of an interjection. Following that, we're going to talk about the three different types of interjections: volitive, cognitive, and emotive. Following that, we're going to talk about primary and secondary interjections. All right, now we talked about that, let's begin. The definition of an interjection. Interjections are words, phrases, and expressions which portray a spontaneous emotion or feeling. It is a wide category with many overlaps into other categories, such as curse words and swear words, conversation markers, and fillers. Interjections can include exclamations such as, hey, conversation markers, and hesitation markers such as, greetings, as well as other words. The difference between an interjection and other particle words is that particle words can't stand alone, whereas interjections can stand alone. The three types of interjections. Number one, volitive. An imperative or a command which requests something out of the person being addressed. For example, shh. An interjection which requests the person being addressed to be quiet. An example sentence. The librarian said shh to the noisy children. Number two, emotive. Emotive interjections are words that express strong emotions, such as anger, fear, and disgust. One example is the word yuck, a word used to describe disgust. An example sentence. The little boy looked at the food on his plate and said yuck before turning his head away. Number three, cognitive. Cognitive interjections are words which express feelings about knowledge which has been learned. This can be confused with emotive as they both deal with feelings. However, cognitive interjections specifically deal with information which has been learned or is known to the person speaking. An example would be the word wow, a word used to express surprise. An example sentence. Once the mathematical formula had been explained to him, the only word that could escape his mouth was the word wow. Now let's talk about another distinction in interjections: primary and secondary. Primary interjections are usually single word and are first and foremost interjections, such as whoops and huh. Secondary interjections can be multi-word phrases and are often borrowed from other categories, but are used as interjections based upon the context of the sentence, such as what's up and pardon me. Now, let's go over some examples of primary and secondary interjections. Primary interjections. Oops. An interjection spoken when someone has made a mistake. Oops, she said after she punched in the wrong password on her computer. Ouch. An exclamation made to express pain. The little boy said ouch after he pricked his finger. Huh. An expression of confusion. After the professor had made his explanation, the student could only say, huh. And now for some examples of secondary interjections. What's up? An interjection made in casual conversation as a greeting or as an inquiry. When he saw his friend staring at the painting, he couldn't help but ask, "What's up?" What the heck? An exclamation made in surprise and frustration. When she saw what her sons had done to the kitchen, all she could say was, "What the heck?" Thank God. An expression of relief. When the gambler saw that his horse had won the race, he let out a sigh of relief and said, "Thank God." Finally, let's consider positive, negative, and neutral interjections. For positive, we have things like hooray, and we have relief. Ah. For neutral, we have things like hesitation, and we have confirmation, uh-huh. For negative, we have things like frustration, duh, and sadness, shucks. There are many types of interjections. You should try and use some of them in your sentences. For those of you unfamiliar with Cambly, Cambly gives you instant access to native English speakers, like me. You can learn English anywhere, anytime using your phone or computer. Schedule your next lesson with me using the link below. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.